Did ancient humans eat burgers? Sounds ridiculous. But stick with me for 1 second, because a piece of your last burger is literally older than the wheel. Not the meat, not the cheese, something else entirely. And once I tell you what it is, you are never going to look at a burger the same way again. Here's the tease: a fermented fish sauce that sat rotting in a barrel for weeks, and a piece of bread baked 14,000 years before farming even existed, are both hiding inside the burger you probably ate this week. Stick around, because by the end of this video you'll never unwrap a burger the same way again. Here's what should really bother you: every layer of that burger has its own separate origin story. Different centuries, different continents, different people, none of whom had ever heard of a bun, a patty, or cheese stacked together on purpose. So here's the real question: if nobody invented the burger, how did every single piece of it already exist? Let's start with the bun. Humans were baking bread almost 14,400 years ago, over 4,000 years before farming existed. No fields, no plows, just hungry hunter-gatherers grinding wild grains by hand, patting the dough flat, and tossing it onto a hot stone. So before humans ever grew a single crop on purpose, they'd already invented the bun. Let that sink in. Picture it. You're a hunter-gatherer in the desert, thousands of years before Egypt, before writing, before the number 0 even exists. You've been walking. Your legs ache. Your stomach's been growling for hours. You reach a fire, and someone hands you a flat, cracked disc of ground-up wild grain, baked hard over the coals. It's not soft. It's not fluffy. It probably tastes like dirt and smoke. You eat it anyway, because at that point, not starving to death is extremely motivating. Archaeologists found the actual burnt crumbs of that bread at a desert site in Jordan called Shubayqa One, sitting in a fireplace, untouched, for 14,000 years. The oldest bread on Earth, made by people who didn't even farm yet. So the bun? Shockingly ancient. But it gets weirder, because the patty has its own origin story, and it does not involve a drive-through. Fast forward to ancient Rome. There's an old Roman cookbook called Apicius with a recipe for a minced meat patty. A burger patty, basically, just without the bun. And the way they made it should turn your stomach. Chopped meat, wine-soaked bread mixed in as a binder. Yes, bread inside the patty too. Crushed pepper. Pine nuts. Then the part that gets you: they'd wrap the whole thing in a lacy sheet of animal fat and grill it over an open flame until the fat crackled and hissed. No bun holding it together. No ketchup. Instead, a splash of garum, a fermented fish sauce so strong that entire Roman factories existed just to brew it, sitting in vats, in the sun, for weeks. Imagine biting into a burger, and the special sauce is fish that's been rotting in a barrel since spring. That's not a joke. That's just a Tuesday in ancient Rome. And here's the part that fits the theme a little too well. Roman cities had actual fast food counters, called thermopolia, built right into the street. Stone counters. Built-in pots of hot food. Customers walking up, grabbing something quick, eating standing up, exactly like a modern counter window. So the fast in fast food? Also ancient. Rome basically ran a drive-through. It just didn't have a drive. So by now, your modern burger is holding two ancient secrets. A bun older than farming. A patty older than pizza. And we haven't even gotten to the cheese. Cheese might be the oldest trick of all. Archaeologists have found cheesemaking tools, basically ancient strainers, dating back roughly 8,000 years. They've also found actual preserved cheese, thousands of years old, wrapped around mummies in China and sealed inside jars in Egyptian tombs. Which means somewhere long before Rome, long before that flatbread in Jordan even went cold, someone accidentally left milk out too long, panicked, tasted the lumpy result anyway, and cheese was born. Humans have been putting fermented dairy on top of things for longer than most religions have existed. Here's the twist nobody expects. Every piece of your burger, the bun, the patty, the cheese, is thousands of years old. But the thing that makes you want it in the first place? That's even older. Your brain didn't evolve in a world with drive-thrus. Think of your craving like an alarm system built for scarcity. Somewhere back in your evolutionary past, food wasn't guaranteed. A full day without eating was normal. So, A brain that lit up with pleasure at the smell of sizzling fat had an edge over one that didn't. Fat packs more than double the energy of the same amount of protein or carbs. Biologically, it's the richest fuel on the plate. That brain didn't overthink it. It just said, eat this now, worry later. Because later might mean days with nothing at all. That instinct kept your ancestors alive. Picture the version of you that lived 20,000 years ago, catching the smell of fat sizzling on a hot stone, drifting across a cold camp at night. That smell wasn't a craving. It was information. It meant calories, warmth, survival, all in one direction. Following that smell wasn't weakness. It was the smartest decision a hungry brain could make. The problem is, nobody told your brain the famine ended. Because of this one ancient survival trick, today you can pull up to a window, hand over a few dollars, and get more calories in 5 minutes than a hunter-gatherer might have found in 5 days. Your body still reacts like it just discovered a rare, life-saving meal, heart rate rising, mouth watering, brain lighting up with reward, even though this time, the reward came from a speaker shaped like a clown. Which brings us back to the beginning. Did ancient humans eat burgers? Not exactly. But they built every piece of one. The bread, the patty, the cheese, thousands of years before English was even a language. What they never built was a world where that meal was always just minutes away. So the next time you unwrap a burger, you're not eating something new. You're eating something ancient, wrapped in paper, handed to you by modern civilization, to satisfy an alarm system your brain has been running since before the pyramids. And that is the part that should make you put it down and think for a second. Or, let's be honest, probably not. You're still going to eat the burger. What's your favorite burger topping? Did you know it might be ancient too? If you're never going to look at a burger the same way again, drop a like. And if you want more forgotten history hiding inside your everyday food, subscribe and stick around. Every fast food chain on Earth is just remixing recipes civilizations invented thousands of years ago. They just added a drive-thru. See you in the next one.